authorized workshop. So you all have noted down the questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir.
now what
Yes,
all you
sir.
are expected to do, each one of you from the group, type your roll number first, followed by all the questions. There will not be hundreds. There will be few questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you just type those questions. Sorry, not necessarily type. You already would have typed it already in your this one. Type your roll number and then copy that file in the chat box. Say you write 101 and the entire file you copy.
Sir, each and everyone from the group should
Yes,
do
each
this.
one, each and everyone from the group. Okay, sir. In the meantime, I am just sharing the screen. I'll start sharing the screen. We'll discuss next.
So the word limit has been exceeded, sir.
Okay, if word limit has been exceeded, then you type the remaining one in the second lot.
Sure, sir.
Can you also see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Can you
Excuse me, sir. There's some issue that the whole
just
document.
one second. The screen is visible at the same time. The slides are changing.
Yes, sir. It's
Good,
changing.
good. Now go ahead. What was the question?
Yes, sir.
Maybe?
So, like I'm trying to copy it up, but only 3 questions are getting copied. The rest are not because of the word limit,
You
I
copy
guess.
copy first 3 questions.
Okay,
In
sir.
the second attempt, type remaining questions.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it. Sir.
Your roll number will appear twice or thrice, doesn't matter.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And I'll tell you the reasons also. All of you are listening. The reason for asking you to copy in this one, it will make my task simpler. My task simpler means I'll copy the entire chat, will arrange it in Excel or some other format. I'll come to know who all have typed. Otherwise, had it been done in classroom, I would have to check as many number of assignments as the students have copied. It would have taken about an hour or so, maybe more than 1.5 hours. In here, my job will be completed in about 5 minutes only. And if there is any other way out in which we can collate all these things, you may suggest. Those of you who are good at all these things, using all those things, you can suggest me. You got what I am interested?
Yes, sir.
So just think of ways and means, if it is possible, that my time can be saved and the purpose also can be served. You can suggest me. Like for example, for Calcutta Motors, there were 20 submissions. So naturally, I had to check all 100 odd submissions in such a way that 20 were, they were common in 20. So marking was done accordingly, but in any case, I had to open each and every file. In this particular case, wherein you have typed it like this, but I need to work on it before I can comment on this. This I'll be working after the class is over, and then I'll suggest you further things. This aspect I should have told you even before, but maybe I myself have realized it now only. the question that you are asking, you have written, should be such that, okay, accountant will also be using the same language anyway. So we if you all have typed, I'll should I should we start the our regular class? If you all have typed it, there was no need to type. I was expecting that all of you must have done it before, and you all need to cut and paste, copy and paste it. Okay, we proceed with the. Is there anyone left? All right, we start the subject matter we were discussing. This part I'll study and we'll get back to you maybe perhaps in the afternoon what next is expected from you, what next you are required to do. I discussed with you about the balance sheet and profit and loss account, about the closing entries, and I also showed you this is how the balance sheet would appear at the end of the day. You already have the the real format of the balance sheet, which you can look at it leisurely. But once the balance sheet and profit loss account is ready, adjustment entries are to be made. How the adjustment entries are to be made, this is what I'll be explaining to you today. Before that, let me also explain that balance sheet may be prepared and presented in two different forms, horizontal and vertical. Horizontal and vertical. The vertical part you saw it before also, that this is how it looks. Two sides you have, left hand side, right hand side, assets, and it may also take this form. For example, this is the form of balance sheet, that they write all the different types of assets like cash in hand, cash at bank. These are all known as liquid assets. Look at serial number 5. Total liquid assets. So 1 to 4 types of assets are called as liquid assets. All right. Then they will write some other things like material and supplies, prepaid expenses. 6 and 7 will become non-liquid assets. Then they will write total current assets. So total current assets are 1 to 8. That is liquid assets as well as non-liquid assets put together will be known as total current assets. Then they will write current liabilities. So bills payable, sundry creditors, outstanding expenses, dividend declared. Of all these, before I go ahead, of all these 27 items that have been listed here, if there is any one term, any of the term that is mentioned out of these 27 is not clear to you, please ask me. I'll tell you what that word or what that this mean. So up to dividend declared, if they total, these are known as current liabilities. So 10 to 13 I have mentioned current liabilities. Now then the difference between the two net current assets would become 9 minus 14. What was 9? 9 should have been total current assets. So from total current assets, if you subtract total current liabilities, the differential figure difference is net working capital or net current assets. Then they include building, vehicles, equipment, furniture. These they call as fixed assets. To these fixed assets, total capital, it becomes capital employed. That is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Starting from 15. That is including net working capital plus building plus vehicle plus all these total current assets, total fixed assets will be called as capital employed. To this, they will add loans. Including this, it becomes shareholders fund. Liability side, long-term liability side, they will write equity share capital, preference share capital, reserve and surplus. Both should be equal. 5,10,000, 5,10,000. So one way of preparing balance sheet is the one that appears on your slide number 6. I'll hold it for a second. Slide number 6. So one way balance sheet can be appeared is like this. On one side asset, on the other side liabilities. The other way could be like the one in this slide, slide number 8. All assets, liabilities, long-term as well as short-term, have been rearranged, but total assets and liabilities would be the same. So it can be represented in these ways. If there is any of the word which is mentioned here is not clear to any one of you, kindly ask me that.
Sir, what is sundry creditors?
Credit. What is creditor?
No, sir. 11th.
No, I am asking what is creditor.
Okay.
Sir, who give us loan?
To whom we owe money.
Okay. Any other way of, you can owe, somebody told whom we give loan.
So who give us loan? Who give us loan?
Who give us loan, and somebody told whom we owe money. Okay. These two are not the correct answer when it comes to accounting language. See, essentially, otherwise in other science and in ordinary language these are correct, but in accounting language these are not correct.
Sir, liabilities.
I'll tell you, no, not even liability. Liability also otherwise is correct, but not in accounting language. I'll tell you why. You can owe money to somebody for several reasons. One, the person gives you loan. Correct? Second,
Yes, sir.
you buy goods from him on credit. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Somebody gives you long-term loan. And somebody, okay, these three let us assume. Under each situation, the terminology will be different. If you have bought goods from somebody, so you owe money to him.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In that case, the person will be called as creditor. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And if there are several creditors, naturally you don't buy goods on credit from one, or goods or services in a large organization. There are 1,000 people, 1,000 millions people who sell goods to the company on credit. So each one of them for the company is a creditor. Collectively, all of them are termed as sundry creditors. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Sir, can you please repeat it? Sundry.
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 See, there are several people from whom the company might have bought goods on credit. Therefore, all of them collectively are called as sundry debtors.
Okay, sir.
And same holds good for creditors also. Debtors also. You sell goods, your company sells goods to several persons, all of them are your debtors. Okay. See, again coming back or going back to creditors. So people, you owe money to the people because you bought goods from them. Sometimes you don't buy any goods from them or don't avail any services from them on credit. Not at all. But law permits that he can take money from you against signing a bill known as bills payable. Sometimes in the business it is legal, it is legally allowed, it is permissible to raise an accommodation bill. When I say accommodation bill, I mean there are two parties, both need money. So one will raise a bill on the other will accept, saying yes, I'll give you this money, I owe you this, something like that. They will do a process, and one of them will take this written agreement to the bank and will tell bank, so and so owes this much money to me, he will pay after 3 months, but I need money now. So bank for 100 rupees document may give 99 rupees. and at the time of maturity, bank will collect money from that person. In the process, if the transaction is done like this, both parties may share 40-50% or 50-50% of the money. The credit facility or credit requirement of both of them will be met for 3 months. Then they may have planned their financial flows, okay, they may be receiving money. So like this, a bill of accommodation is there. There are several such instruments. Against each, somebody becomes a debtor, somebody becomes a creditor, and they have different names. These are known as bills receivables or bills payable. Lokesh has mentioned here, can we call it as a bill of exchange? Bills of exchange are those instruments, but in the accounting books, you write them under the head of bills receivable or bills payable. Here, we were explaining the concept of creditor. There comes a question that somebody told, we borrowed money from them, or so it was not correct. What is correct? Somebody whom you have bought goods on credit from. So you will pay at a later date. In any case, liability, name of liability is.
So, sir, in one case we will be debtor, and in the other case will be a creditor, like bills
You
payable
will
and
be
receivable.
you will be debtor for them. They are creditors for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
and in order to solve this problem for all time to come, let us assume that we shall only be talking about our company. Otherwise, transactions will be mixed up. If you sell goods, for you it is income. What somebody it is expense. You will be confused. Should you record expense or should you record revenue? You should be concerned. You should analyze everything only and only from the point of view of your own company. Correct? Similarly, when you pay salary, it is an expense, but the person who is receiving is his income. So what do? You record as an expense only because you are concerned with your company. Okay. Any other word which is not clear, I'll
And
explain.
sir, what are outstanding expenses?
Okay. Outstanding का क्या मतलब होता? Outstanding, let us say, is a word of English. क्या मतलब होता अगर कोई
Extraordinary.
extraordinary? और बताइए.
पेंडिंग.
बहुत अच्छा. Extraordinary. और भी कुछ हो सकता?
सर पेंडिंग.
Pending और
Out of ordinary.
आउट ऑफ ऑर्डिनरी. और कभी आपकी क्लास में चौथी पांचवी छठी क्लास में कभी ऐसा हुआ कि टीचर ने आपको क्लास से बाहर निकाल दिया हो किसी गलती पर और आप बाहर गेट के खड़े हो गए हो? अभी
Yes,
ऐसा
sir.
नहीं हुआ?
यस सर.
अगर हुआ भी होगा तो आप बताने के नहीं है ना?
नहीं सर, हुआ बिल्कुल.
जी
सर बिल्कुल हुआ है. सर हुआ है.
सर नहीं, मेरे साथ नहीं हुआ.
अनम के साथ नहीं हुआ. चलो खैर, मैं तुम्हें निकालता हूँ ग्रुप से. तुम्हारा रिकॉर्ड तो ब्रेक होना चाहिए. अभी ग्रुप से रिमूव कर देता हूँ तो तुम्हारा रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक हो जाएगा. अच्छा, अब एक बच्चे को टीचर ने क्लास से बाहर निकाल दिया. अब टीचर के पास अगर फोन आए और टीचर ये कह दे योर सन इज आउटस्टैंडिंग या योर डॉटर इज आउटस्टैंडिंग, तो टीचर क्या मतलब निकालेगा? सॉरी, माँ बाप क्या मतलब?
सर बाहर खड़ी है.
बाहर खड़ी है या
No.
उनका बच्चा स्मार्ट
स्मार्ट है सर, स्मार्ट है निकालेगा.
स्मार्ट.
बाहर
सर स्टैंडिंग आउटसाइड का मतलब होगा
Yes,
आपके
sir.
बाहर खड़ी है.
सर स्टैंडिंग आउट बोलेंगे. आउटस्टैंडिंग.
एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी.
लेकिन अगर मान लीजिए वो टीचर जो है, अगर मान लीजिए वो टीचर अखिल बाबू सेन की तरह है, तो ये भी तो हो सकता है.
टीचर के सेंस में वो बाहर खड़ा होगा,
expression will help.
पेरेंट्स के सेंस में वो आउटस्टैंडिंग होगा, एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी होगा.
अकाउंटिंग के सेंस में आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंसेस आर दोस व्हिच आर येट टू बी पेड, जिनको आपको पे करना बाकी है. आउटस्टैंडिंग सैलरीज, आउटस्टैंडिंग वेजेस, आउटस्टैंडिंग रेंट, आउटस्टैंडिंग एवरीथिंग व्हिच इज पेएबल but has not been paid. ठीक है, everything which is payable but has not been paid. I am typing
Yes, sir.
a question. Just hold on for a second. I cannot type all these things in advance because these things come to my mind only when the discussion is taking place. I explain the meaning of outstanding. I have typed the question. I'll be posting here. The question that I have typed is, let me explain its background. We have recorded outstanding expenses in the balance sheet because we have not paid. We are yet to pay. The expenses have incurred but not paid. We are recording. I'll give you an example. Salaries were due on last working day. Let us say we are working up to 31st December from 1st January. लेकिन कोई किसी वजह से सैलरी पे नहीं हो सकी, हमारे पास सैलरी नहीं थी, या आदमी मौजूद नहीं था, या कोई डिस्प्यूट था, कोई भी रीजन हो सकता है. डिस्प्यूट एक्चुअली नहीं होगा, डिस्प्यूट के लिए अदर टर्म है. किसी वजह से वो पे नहीं हो सकी, ठीक, कोई पेंडिंग इशू था, सैलरी है, रेंट है, इंश्योरेंस है, प्रीमियम है, कुछ भी नहीं पे हो सका, बट वी आर रिकॉर्डिंग इट. हम उसको रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं और उसका टर्म हमने दिया है आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपेंसेस, या इन एक्सपेंसेस को एक्सपेंसेस पेएबल भी कह सकते हैं. ये हम इस वजह से करते हैं क्योंकि कन्वेंशन हमें गाइड करता. तो आप अपना रोल नंबर लिखिए और कन्वेंशन लिखिए. राइट योर रोल नंबर फॉलोड बाय द कन्वेंशन एंड डोंट गो बाय द ऑडियंस पोल. अपना अपना लिखिएगा. ओके, गुड. अब आपने देखा कैलकाटा मोटर्स में क्या हो रहा था.
Yes, sir. Voice of.
एक्सपेंस इनकर तो कर रहे थे. विच एक्सपेंसेस दे वर इनकरिंग?
Yes, sir.
एक्सपेंसेस परटेनिंग टू द प्रीवियस अकाउंटिंग पीरियड. कार आपने सेल की है, लेट अस से, जस्ट लेट मी एक्सप्लेन नाउ बिकॉज दैट पार्ट इज ओवर, योर डिस्कशन पार्ट इज ओवर. Car was sold on 1st of July, and let us say the company promised, even if आप इसको भूल जाइए कि कैलकाटा मोटर, जनरल बात कीजिए, कंपनी हैज promised 4 free services. कंपनी हैज promised 4 free services. तो एक तो सर्विस आपकी होगी अक्टूबर में, एक होगी दिसंबर में, एक होगी जनवरी में, और एक होगी जीशान. व्हाट हैव यू डन जीशान?
Sir,
What have you posted here sharing this file?
sir, sorry, sir. I was actually trying to open a board, a
Okay.
rough board in my.
हम्म. आप क्या
Yes, sir.
क्या ये क्या आप पोस्ट क्या करना चाहते हैं?
सर मैं जैम फाइल खोलने की कोशिश कर रहा था सर, व्हाइट बोर्ड लिखने
नहीं
के
वो
लिए.
ठीक है,
Sorry, sir.
मतलब ताकि उसमें लिखा जा सके.
जी सर, जी सर.
नहीं, आप ऐसा कीजिए, जो भी आपको लिखना है आपके पास वर्ड की फाइल में टाइप तो होगा ना.
जी जी सर. नहीं
उसको
सर, कॉपी पेन भी है सर, मैं देख रहा था इसमें दिखा रहा था.
कोई बात नहीं, नो कॉपी पेस्ट. ओके, सो द कार दैट वाज सोल्ड ऑन 1st of July, उसकी पहली सर्विस होगी अक्टूबर में, दूसरी होगी दिसंबर में, तीसरी होगी मार्च में, एंड चौथी होगी वंस अगेन इन जून, isn't it? So because the revenue was earned in the previous accounting period, so 2 services they would have given in that period, but they should make a provision for the services to be delivered in the next accounting year. Otherwise, their sales will be more and expenses will be less, and profit will be shown as inflated one in the previous accounting period. In the second accounting period, suppose like this, they are selling 100 cars, but not so this is what to be thought of and see whether profit is getting inflated or deflated, over represented or underrepresented. Okay, now this is over. Any other word? Somebody, Akin Hassan has mentioned accrual. See Hassan, it is not accrual because accrual is a system of accounting which asks us how to record. Recording.
Okay, sir.
Record. So accrual means record whether paid or not paid. For record when paid, it is cash. So accrual and cash are systems of accounting. So cash accounting was used to be followed earlier, but these days everybody is following accrual system. Record as and when it is due. In this particular example that was explained, expenses were incurred. Had they not been recorded, they would have violated the convention. Secondly, I stopped explaining you, there could be any reason. if the salary or any expense has not been recorded because of some dispute, it will be recorded, it will be payable depending on the outcome of case. Then this liability has a specific meaning in accounting language. Suppose you were paying rent regularly, but there was some dispute with the landlord and matter was registered in the court of law and the case is going on. So company never knows in whose favor will the case be decided. Company may establish you have to pay, and company may say no, you don't have to pay. In such a situation, this liability may arise and liability may not, depending on the outcome of case. In such a scenario, what will be the name of this liability? आप लोग बताएं इस liability का नाम क्या होगा?
So contingent liability.
Very true. Good. आप इतनी देर से क्यों सोच के बता रहे हो और इतना आहिस्ता क्यों बोल रहे हो? It is a correct answer. Say it confidently. Name of this liability would be, बताओ दोबारा से रिजल्ट. Contingent liability.
So contingent liability.
Contingent का क्या मतलब होता? Accounting language में you have said a correct answer, but in English language
Situational.
which is, yes, very true, which is dependent on the outcome of an event. अब ये बताइए contingent liability को बैलेंस शीट में कहाँ दिखाया जाएगा?
सर करंट लाइबिलिटीज में,
करंट में. और कोई दूसरा जवाब दे.
So बैलेंस शीट के फुट नोट पे दिखाते हैं उसको.
आपने इसलिए बताया क्योंकि आपने बैलेंस शीट के फुटनोट पे देखा होगा. आपने सही जवाब दिया कि बैलेंस शीट के, यानी कि बैलेंस शीट के अंदर इट विल नॉट बी ए पार्ट ऑफ योर एडिशन.
बैलेंस
शीट में टोटल लायबिलिटी साइड को अगर आप काउंट करेंगे तो ये फिगर काउंट की जाएगी या नहीं?
नो सर.
No, this figure will not be counted. Is it clear to rest of you? The figure of contingent liability will not be a part of addition of all the liabilities. आपकी बैलेंस शीट में 10 लाइबिलिटीज हैं, सबका टोटल 1 लाख है. तो कंटिंजेंट लाइबिलिटी की अगर फिगर 10,000 है तो द टोटल विल नॉट बी 1,10,000. टोटल विल कंटिन्यू टू रिमेन एज 1 lakh and this 10,000 will be shown separately after the balance sheet is over. The word Riza or somebody has used is footnotes, isn't it? So after the balance sheet is completed, all such items, there are several which I may explain to you later, are shown outside. Why is it done so? Because if you include liability which is or which may or which may not, so it will convey different meaning to shareholders, to the stakeholders, or to the users of accounting information. Is it right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
If there is no more clarification to be sought from the words which are appearing on your screen, I can move on to everything is fine. Yes.
So what is preference share capital?
Okay. The word capital is known to you now. The meaning of capital is known to you. Capital
Yes,
can be
sir.
raised in various forms. Capital can be raised in various forms. What could be those forms? Commonly known form, a very popular form, is known as equity share capital. Equity share capital. So equity share capital holders are owners of the company. They are proportionate owners. If company makes profit, they get money. If company incurs losses, they also share the. They also suffer the proportionate loss if it is a case of equity shareholders. Capital can also be raised in another form known as preference share capital. In case of preference share capital, the holder is not owner of the company. If there are losses, he is not bothered. If there are profit, still he is not bothered. He continues to receive a fixed agreed amount that has been agreed between him and the company in whose he has invested money in the form of preference share capital. But the difference is that these people enjoy some preferences over other type of creditors or over other type of liabilities in the company. they get preference whenever anything is due and is to be given to them. First of all, they will be, cleared. They get the money and then others will get. For example, for some reason, company has gone into huge losses and it has been declared as bankrupt, and the company is going for liquidation, and proportionate money will be refunded or will be returned to all its stakeholders. So these people will be the first one to get. I'm sorry, not first one. They will be the second one to get. Who should be the first one to get? Suppose total liabilities are 100. Company has realized only 60 rupees. So 60 rupees will be distributed amongst all stakeholders in 10:6 ratio. Those who had to receive 10, they will receive 6. So who will be the first receiver?
So the investors?
इन्वेस्टर तो इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर है, उससे बाद में मिलेगा
Creditors.
जी।
प्रेफरेंस शेयर
प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर से ही पहले किसको मिलेगा?
Promoters.
प्रोमोटर्स नहीं,
सर क्रेडिटर्स
फर्स्ट ओनर
ओनर को तो सबसे बाद में मिलेगा। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल
क्रेडिटर्स को
क्लियर करें,
लायबिलिटीज है।
नहीं, सबसे पहले जो गवर्नमेंट के ड्यूज है गवर्नमेंट वो अपने लेगी, ठीक है कि नहीं? अगर कंपनी कुछ टैक्सेस की फॉर्म में वो करती है, कोई और उसकी गवर्नमेंट की लायबिलिटी है, कुछ और अगर है, तो सबसे पहले गवर्नमेंट क्या करेगी? अपना शेयर लेगी। उसके बाद में जो पैसा बचेगा उसमें सबसे पहले प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स को दिया जाएगा, ओनर्स को सबसे बाद में। I was explaining to you the meaning of preference shareholders. तो प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स का मतलब ये है कि उनको एक फिक्स्ड रिटर्न मिलता है, एंड द रिटर्न दे रिसीव इज कॉल्ड एज डिविडेंड, प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स डिविडेंड। ईयर आफ्टर ईयर उनको फिक्स्ड ही मिलेगा, बट इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स विल गेट वेरिएबल रिटर्न। More profit, they will get more return. Less profit, they will get less return. No profit, they will get no return. Losses, their value of shares will go down. In case of preference shareholders, there will be no effect on their investment. ये preference shareholders का मतलब है। और बताइए कोई और वर्ड अगर क्लियर ना हो।
So in this case, can we take the example of Vijay Mallya?
नहीं, विजय माल्या का केस, विजय माल्या में जो वो हुआ, इंसॉल्वेंसी उसकी हुई है, जो बैंक करप्ट हुआ, तो पहले तो गवर्नमेंट के जो टैक्सेस हैं उसकी अब आजकल प्रॉपर्टी सेल की जा रही हैं।
Yes sir.
तो सबसे पहले तो गवर्नमेंट अपना जो टैक्सेस ड्यू हैं वो करेक्ट करेगी उससे, उसके बाद जो पैसा बचेगा फिर प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स को और उसको बांटा जाएगा।
Okay sir.
ओके, सादिया, आर यू अराउंड? सादिया इकबाल।
यस सर।
हाँ, आपने जो अभी ये लिखा है ये वो क्वेश्चन है जो आपको सबसे पहले कहा गया था लिखने के लिए, इजंट इट?
यस सर, मेरा फोन बहुत हैंग कर रहा है सर, वो टाइप ही नहीं हो रहा है।
अच्छा कोई बात नहीं तो टाइप नहीं हो रहा। देखो भाई बेटा, ये बात तो ही नहीं टाइप, मैंने तो आपको क्या लिखा था? मैंने ये लिखा था कि आप फाइल तैयार करके रखिए। अब आपको
सर वो
टाइप
पेस्ट करने पे फॉर्मेट चेंज कर दे रहा है पूरा, पता नहीं वो नंबर्स आ जा रहा है, दोबारा टाइप करना पड़ रहा है पूरा।
अच्छा, अगर ऐसे सब इश्यूज हैं तो आप मुझे पहले से बताया कीजिए।
ओके सर।
And all these issues now, they have become the requirement these days. You think over ways and means so that your at least participation becomes meaningful. It should not be, I mean, the gadgets or any other thing should not be a hurdle, isn't it? Like for example, before you go to bed, actually you retire, you make sure that your phone is fully charged. If somebody comes up and says that my phone was down, my battery was saturated and this and that, and there was no electricity, even all these things should not happen. If the class of 8 o'clock is there on your mind, so before going to bed, you will take all due precautions. Suppose you have to join somewhere at 8 o'clock. Once you get up, those of you who offer Fajr, those of you who go to mosque and then come back after Fajr, what will be the first thing that you will do?
ब्रेकफास्ट।
बहुत अच्छा है। और बताओ, तुमने यार याद दिला दिया, बंडा बॉयल हो रहा होगा। और बताओ, ब्रेकफास्ट से पहले भी कुछ करोगे?
रीडिंग कुरान।
रीडिंग कुरान। और बताइए, चलिए आप दुनियावी दीनी चीजें छोड़ के वो बताइए कि दुनियादारी
क्या
के
है
हिसाब
इसमें?
से आप क्या करेंगे?
सर हैंड वॉश।
हैंड वॉश। और बताइए, आजकल तो हैंड वॉश वैसे भी करने पड़ रहे होंगे दिन में 100 मरतबा। और
सर चेक आवर फोन।
जी,
प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द क्लास।
चेक आवर फोन।
प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द क्लास। नहीं, मैंने ये कब कहा कि भाई तुम क्लास के लिए जाना? वो तो तुम लोग बस मुझे खुश करने के लिए तुमने बोल दिया प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर क्लास, करते वक्त हो नहीं तुम।
सब मैं सो जाता हूँ।
I'll tell you, while returning from the mosque, first thing that I do, I look at all tires of my four wheeler. जब मेरे पास स्कूटर था तो स्कूटर देखा करता था, अब कार के चारों टायर में देखता हूँ। ऐसा ना हो कि पंचर हो गया हो। मैं तो अपने प्लान से चलूंगा कि मुझे 8 बजे पहुंचना है, तो 7:45 पे आई लीव। आई नो 5 मिनट्स की ड्राइव है, 10 मिनट का मार्जिन है, आई लीव। और अगर ये मैंने नहीं देखा कि उसमें पंचर हो गया है और मैंने 7:45 पे चाबी घुमाया, तो क्या होगा? 15 मिनट्स विल बी स्पेंट इन चेंजिंग द टायर एंड आई विल बी डिलेड। तो बहुत सारे, ये क्यों होता है? ये इसलिए होता है कि आपके माइंड पर 8 o'clock सवार है। आपको मालूम है कि आपको 8 बजे से पहले पहले वहाँ पहुँचना है, तो आपके लिए नाश्ता विल बी सेकंड प्रायोरिटी, सब चीज़ें सेकंड प्रायोरिटी। पहली प्रायोरिटी क्या होगी कि वो कन्वेंस जिससे आपको जाना है आप उसको देख लेंगे। भाई वो अलग बात है कि इंजन ही नहीं स्टार्ट हो, वो स्टॉप पर बैटरी कुछ हो जाए, समथिंग पानी वाली मांग रही है, भाई किसी से पानी पी लो, कुछ और हो जाए, वो अलग बात है, लेकिन कोशिश ये होनी चाहिए। चलिए लेट अस कम बैक टू वेयर वर वी। अच्छा, कुछ और मालूम करना हो तो बताइए, वो फिर नेक्स्ट में आपको और दूसरी कुछ।
सर बुक डेट।
यस सर,
सर इन्वेस्टमेंट इन शॉर्ट टर्म।
ओके, बुक डेट का मतलब, डेटर्स का मतलब बुक डेट होता, डेटर्स। अच्छा, किसी ने पूछा इन्वेस्टमेंट फॉर शॉर्ट टर्म। ये टर्म जो है अकाउंटिंग में किस पीरियड को रिफ्लेक्ट करता है? इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स द अकाउंटिंग पीरियड। यूजुअली जो शॉर्ट टर्म वाले इन्वेस्टमेंट होते हैं वो 2-3 महीने के होते हैं, बट इफ एनीथिंग एक्सीड्स 1 अकाउंटिंग पीरियड इट बिकम्स लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट, एंड समथिंग विच इज विदिन 1 अकाउंटिंग पीरियड इट बिकम्स शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट। इसीलिए इसको करंट एसेट बोलते हैं कि आपने 2 महीने के लिए पैसा जमा किया, 3 महीने के लिए जमा किया, इवन आप 1 दिन के लिए कर सकते हैं। देयर इज अ मनी मार्केट वेयरइन यू कैन बाई एंड लेंड इवन फॉर ए डे। ठीक है ना? तो 1 हफ्ते के लिए किसी को एडवांस दे दिया, 10 दिन के लिए ले लिया, 20 दिन के लिए दे दिया। फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट में यू विल लर्न ऑल दीज थिंग्स। व्हाई इज इट दैट इवन डे इज इंपॉर्टेंट? एनी
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, yes.
Sir, like you said, cases pending in the court are contingent liabilities, right?
Yes.
So similarly, I've also read that guarantee given to the customers, this is also a current liability. So as in the case, contingent liability.
Mhm.
So, sir, as in the case of Calcutta Motors, shall we record it as contingent liability or?
Guarantee, with respect to guarantee, let me make it clear.
Yes,
Guarantee
sir.
given to the customer is a contingent liability. But suppose आपने 1000 device sell किए, each device
Yes,
was
sir.
costing let us say 1 rupee, correct? तो कितने
Yes, sir.
रुपए हो गए? 1000 की सेल हो गई आपकी। और अगर आपकी गारंटी ये है कि आप टोटल रिप्लेस करेंगे तो 1000 ही की आपकी कंटिजेंट लाइबिलिटी हो जाएगी।
Yes, sir.
अगर आप अपना सेल्स रेवेन्यू 1000 दिखाएं तो 1000 ही कंटिजेंट लाइबिलिटी दिखाएं, तो एज एन इन्वेस्टर और एज ए प्रोस्पेक्टिव इन्वेस्टर क्या उसके दिमाग पे असर होगा? द कंपनी इज एन ऑल अर्निंग 1 लाख रुपीज एंड देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट इट मे लूज 1 लाख रुपीज। तो इन सच अ सिचुएशन द कंपनी मेक्स कैलकुलेशंस। कैलकुलेशन ऐसे करते हैं कि व्हाट इज द ट्रेंड इन द पास्ट ईयर, हाउ मेनी सच डिवाइसेस वी इनफैक्ट रिटर्न। मान लीजिए ये रेट है, नॉट 100% विल बी रिफंडेड रिटर्न। आप जो चीजें खरीदते हैं, आप जो फोन खरीदा तो कितनी मरतबा इसके रिप्लेसमेंट की जरूरत पड़ती होगी? 100 फोन अगर कंपनी ने बेचे तो टोटल रिप्लेसमेंट हार्डली 2, 3, 4। तो कंपनी मेक्स कैलकुलेशन बेस्ड ऑन इट्स हिस्टोरिकल डेटा and the amount which it arrives at, that it calls as contingent liability, not the entire amount. Otherwise तो पूरा सिचुएशन ही गलत हो जाएगी, isn't it?
And we have to make provision for that.
Yes, make provision for that, but not for the entire sales value. Theoretically speaking,
Yes, sir, for the trend.
yes, theoretically speaking, the entire total devices can come back, but exceptionally it happens. And for exception we don't make a rule. At times some very renowned companies had to recall. I'm just not able to, immediately connect it. One automobile company, perhaps it was Toyota or something, had to recall a particular model from the market. The entire production was wrong. Even Boeing had to recall the entire engine for a particular lot. So likewise, if it happens that one particular lot went totally wrong, so they can recall from the market. So these are exceptional situations. Otherwise, a guess, an estimate, objective estimate is made, and accordingly it is recorded. Any other word from the text which is not clear, for which you need an explanation?
So reserve and surplus.
Okay, reserve and surplus. What is reserve?
So reserve is something we store. Surplus, I think I was like a bit confused. Surplus, is it like revenue, sort of revenue?
No. Anyone from the commerce?
Sir, this is the amount that is being kept for some unforeseen liabilities that are occurred.
Unforeseen liability. Okay, say it again. Perhaps now you require more explanation. Before you start differentiating between the two, let me tell you that this is your accumulated profit. This is your accumulated profit of the past many years. Every year a company makes profit. It does not distribute the 100% profit. It distributes 20%, retains 80%, or distributes 80% and retains 20%. Any permutation and combination can do, depending on the overall choice of its total shareholders. So every year, whatever is, it keeps on accumulating. So it is your previous year's profit, which you have written under two different words, reserves and surplus. Now I'll tell you, in case none of you is able to come up with the further explanation. A reserve means there are two words, reserves and surplus. So reserve means something for which a purpose has been attached. A purpose has been attached. That is, this amount, let us say total amount is 100 rupees. Total amount is 100 rupees. You may say out of these 100 rupees, 30 rupees we shall use for replacement of our machines. 20 rupees we shall use in case in some years we get less profit, but we want to maintain same rate of dividend. We have been paying, let us say, every year 20% dividend. In some years the profit is so low that we can't pay even 1%. So let us retain something, and so in case of exigency, from money can be taken out of that figure, and we will maintain our record of paying 20%. So this reserve will be called as a dividend equalization reserve. So you attach a particular head and you plan that this will be used for that purpose in future. This being the case, you call that as a reserve and attach various names in your annexures. Surplus is something for which you have not made up your mind what will you do. You can do anything with that money, whichever has not been planned. So reserve means some specific thing, and surplus means something which is general in nature. Anything can be done out of that money. Just consider it, you are receiving 5,000 rupees from your parents as your monthly expenses, and you decide that 10% you will spend on your tuition fees, 30% on your food, 5% on your entertainment, 3% on this, like this, and then you are left with 200 rupees or 1,000 rupees. Okay, there's no specific thing I can do anything out of it. So this is how you can differentiate between reserves and surplus.
So when purpose is attached, then it is surplus, and when it is not, then it is.
Oh, just the opposite. When the
surplus, there's no purpose attached to it.
There's no purpose attached. There's
Yes,
no purpose attached. There's no specific head attached. Urusa has written surplus is one. Surplus is when company has more resources. No. Then it can use. No, surplus, it happens nothing to do with resources. See, when we are now writing or typing or speaking, we should be accounting wise correct. Our language should be accounting. So when you write surplus is one, when a company has more resources will carry a different meaning. To be very, very specific, it is your accumulated profit of the previous several years. Isn't it? It can use in production. So see, from general statement, everything can be considered as correct or incorrect, but now on, we should be very specific. Today we hardly could take up something related to your specific topic that I planned for the day. But anyway, I'll take up, and then whatever answers you have given, questions you have given, I'll work out of it maybe about another 1 or 2 hours. Once it is done, I'll post the assignment on the Google Classroom. Today is what, Wednesday?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
I the kind of, my schedule
Sir,
that I